Let's jump right in. Welcome to this explainer. I am absolutely pumped to have you here today because we're going to embark on a little journey to demystify what actually makes a leader great. We'll be breaking down the core concepts from the groundbreaking book Leadership 2.0. And look, if you've ever felt like effective leadership is just this elusive, mysterious trait that some folks just magically have, you are in the exact right place. We're going to unpack the science and the strategy behind exceptional leadership, and we'll see exactly how you can build these vital skills yourself.
So let's start with this idea. Talent hits a target that no one else can hit, but genius hits a target no one else can see. That quote really hits the nail on the head, right? It perfectly validates that frustration we've all probably felt at some point. Leadership can seem so mystical, like seeing a target that is literally invisible to everyone else around you. It's super easy to look at those great leaders and just assume, well, they were simply born with a gift. But the reality, as we're about to uncover, is that leadership genius is actually just a specific set of practiced, dynamic skills. Here is our quick roadmap for today's explainer. We'll cover defining great leadership, the core leadership foundation, the adaptive leadership secret, creating your action plan, and finally, the lifelong learner mindset.
All right, part 1, defining great leadership, beyond the born leader myth.
It's actually super common to struggle with pinning down why leadership even works. It kind of reminds me of that old Dilbert comic where the boss claims profits went up because of his great leadership, but then went down because of a weak economy. Even top-tier leaders have a hard time explaining exactly why what they do drives results. So, to get past this whole born leader myth, the authors conducted an intensive study to separate the skills that actually get results from the ones that don't. And they found that the 22 critical leadership skills fall into two very distinct buckets: core leadership and adaptive leadership. Core leadership encompasses the foundational stuff that gets you promoted in the first place. But adaptive leadership? Those are the dynamic, super agile skills that set the world's absolute greatest leaders apart from the rest of the pack.
Moving on to part 2, the core leadership foundation, getting in the door.
Now listen. While core skills won't necessarily make you an exceptional, world-changing visionary all on their own, they are the absolute baseline requirements. You simply cannot sit at the leadership table without them. As we see here, core leadership is broken down into 3 main categories: strategy, action, and results. These are the tangible, everyday building blocks of solid, productive management.
Let's walk through these fundamentals really quickly, because executing these well is exactly what earns someone the label of a born leader early on in their career. First, you've got strategy. That's knowing how to look ahead, spot the trends, and envision a new reality for your team. Second is action, making solid decisions, communicating clearly, and getting people mobilized toward goals that might even seem completely unobtainable. And finally, results, which is all about taking calculated risks, staying intensely focused, and having the agility to pivot when things get uncertain.
But here's where we kind of have to pause and ask a really big question. If core skills are what get you the promotion, what actually keeps you at the top? Think about it. If everyone sitting around the executive table has these baseline skills, what's the secret sauce? What separates the good managers from the truly great visionaries?
Which brings us to part 3. The adaptive leadership secret, rising above the rest.
This right here is the major discovery of the book's research. Adaptive leadership isn't just one single thing. It's this really unique combination of skills, perspective, and guided effort that lets you excel in incredibly dynamic environments. And these skills fall into 4 quadrants: emotional intelligence, organizational justice, character, and development. These 4 areas represent the emotional and psychological core of true leadership excellence. It's the engine that allows a leader to go places others just simply cannot.
Let's break these down a bit. Emotional intelligence is all about self-awareness and managing relationships effectively. Organizational justice? That's about basic fairness and making sure information is flowing freely, not being hoarded. Character comes down to unwavering integrity and actually valuing differences in your team. And development focuses on lifelong learning, both for yourself and for elevating the people around you. But hey, the most vital takeaway here is this: these are not innate, magical gifts bestowed upon a lucky few. They are highly practical, repeatable skills. Literally, anyone can adopt them with the right focus and effort. Okay, so we know what the skills are now. But how do we actually bridge the learning-doing gap? Like, how do we take these high-level psychological concepts and actually apply them to our messy, busy, chaotic corporate lives?
That takes us to part 4, creating your action plan with a 360-degree refined framework.
The authors assure us there is a proven, systematic way to build these adaptive muscles. No guessing required, you just follow the process. And I absolutely love how the book frames this. They say you have to approach learning these new skills with the mindset of an athlete. Treat your workday like your own personal gym to get your reps in. Think about it. Every single time you walk down the hall, every boardroom meeting, every quick virtual chat, that is your equipment. Those everyday moments are your real-world opportunities to hone your skills.
So the crucial point is sticking to a structured plan. The book recommends using their 360-degree refined assessment to find out where your baselines are. Step 1, you transfer those test scores to identify your specific growth areas. Step 2, and this is super important, pick a single leadership skill to work on. Just one. Don't overwhelm yourself. Step 3, choose a mentor who already excels at that specific skill. Step 4 is practice. And right here, you've got to expect success, not perfection. It's going to take a month or two to really see progress. And finally, step 5, once you've mastered it, pick the next skill and repeat the whole shebang.
And finally, part 5, the lifelong learner mindset, staying at the peak. So, you've got your foundation, you've got the adaptive secrets, and you've established your daily office gym routine. How do you actually sustain that elite performance over an entire career? Well, it comes down to this really powerful realization from the text. Lifelong learners don't peak. Since leadership is a mental attribute, you can continue scaling new heights. That's a total game changer. If leadership was purely a physical trait, sure, we'd be limited by age. But because it's mental, your potential is quite literally limitless. As long as you're willing to keep putting in the reps, your career trajectory can just maintain an upward arc forever.
I want to leave you with this final thought, and it ties right back to where we started today. Now that you know the true structure of genius-level leadership, which target will you aim for tomorrow that no one else can see today? Pick your single skill, get your reps in, start building that adaptive edge. Thank you so much for hanging out with me for this explainer. Now get out there and lead.